I'm live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to another episode of Cliff Notes Live. I think it's episode 266, something like that. Welcome to all of y'all. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. Love all of you who come hanging out with me every Monday night, and those of you watching on replay as well. And I love me some reality TV. We're not to Big Brother yet, but we're starting to get some episodes. We got Survivor coming up. We got the Traitors, Fear Factor, Extracted. What else am I missing? Beast Game. A lot of different reality shows going on right now, and I got a show that Sharon and I binged watch. I want to talk about in a little bit. So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, plus whatever else y'all got in mind this evening. Hope y'all are doing a little bit better than last week. A little warmer down here in the Houston area. Hope it's the same for most of y'all as well. All right, first of all, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on the notifications if you can, if you would, and give me the thumbs up is always appreciated. I've been doing recaps of the Traitors, so if you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about it tonight, I'm sure, but if you want to see some recaps of each of the episodes, that's sitting out there as well. If you have notifications turned on, you find out as soon as I post them. Otherwise, you got to wait for me to tell you. And where's the fun in that, right? All right, let me see who all is out here. Let me go back to my screen that just went away. There we go. All right, let me see who is out here real quick. Carol Mosier is out here. First one. Carol, how are you doing, my friend? All right, I don't have my mouse. So I got to fiddle with it a little bit. Ma is out here as well. Staten Island Chuck and Puxatawny Phil. Yeah, welcome. Happy Groundhog Day to all you. Patricia Miller, happy Groundhog Day. Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes it comes in handy that my BB comic was the groundhog. So, yeah, welcome to all of y'all. I think it's another 6 weeks of winter. We barely had any down here anyway. I need to watch Groundhog Day again. All right, we'll talk about that in a second. Also, Ma, howdy, Ma. I hope you're doing fantastic. Kennedy Franken as well. I'm just going to go through these quick, then we'll talk here in a second. Kennedy Frank. Oh, y'all are talking away already. Marilyn Southern. Marilyn, how you doing? Patricia Miller. Stuart 7129. Let's see. All right, I'm going to come back. Y'all know what I do sometimes. After the show's over, I go back and I catch some of these conversations that I haven't had a chance to do during the show. Big Jake 88, how are you, Big Jake? Michelle Moore 664. Cindelica Cindy, how are you doing, my friend? Let's see. Carolyn Flynn. All right, Gail Warnings is out here as well. Kent 427. I'm going through these quick, so if I miss you, I apologize. Let's see. 43 Huckster also. And I think we may call it good just to get into the swing of things. All right, guys, y'all are having quite. I love to see that. I try as best I can. I was a little late coming in this evening. I love Houston. I love the fact that I'm not buried under a couple of feet of snow right now. Not always a huge fan of the traffic of Houston, but hey, that's the price you pay. I do remember when I was in the Big Brother house for 3.5 months thinking, God, this is the longest that I have gone without driving a car since I was probably 15 years old. And not only not driving a car, I had no wallet. I had no cell phone, which nowadays is a big deal. Back when I was younger, not a biggie, but no wallet. For 3.5 months, I had no money to call my own. One person found a dollar bill in their luggage. I can't remember who it was. And we thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Hey, we could have had some kind of horrific drugs. Like, oh, we got contraband. We got this dollar bill. Didn't do anything, but we had it. 3.5 months of not writing anything, not having any money, not watching TV. A whole lot of longest I've ever kind of things in that Big Brother house. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. But no, it's I don't know. But yeah, six more weeks of winter. I did hear Puxatawny Phil did that. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, Patricia Miller saying, just finished watching Groundhog Day. There you go. Comic looks great. When we did the BB comic, first of all, it's pretty funny. You'd have to watch the episode. I'm sure no one else will remember this but me. But my BB comic was on the very far right. And when I started solving my comics, I started on the far left. Nick was on the far left. And just working my way to the right. I was so because I was on the block that week, and there was a good chance I was going home. So I was so intent on finishing and trying to win BB Comics. I kind of had even forgotten that one of those comics was me. Did not even dawn on me until I got towards the very end, and then I saw mine. It's like, oh, that's me. There's a comic for me, and so yeah, Groundhog Day with the hat and all that. Y'all can see it back here, right? You see the see the resemblance. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I remember really thinking before I saw the comic, it was going to be something about Cliff Hog, the loudmouth that can't, can't is overheard anywhere you go, or something like that. Or I don't know, the guy with the cucaracha that just keeps coming back. I figured they would do something along those lines. I have heard that a lot of these comics, though, they have to decide what it's going to be fairly early in the season because they have to give the cartoonist time to draw it out. And apparently, it's not an easy process. And so they didn't have a lot of time to work with it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It is very cool that I had a comic done of me. I did a lot of iconic competitions in the Big Brother house. BB Comics, one of the big ones. And the fact that Nicole won pulled me off the block. Just if it caused me to go home, I may not have had as much fondness for that competition. But the fact it saved me, just that much more cool. And I love doing the zip line as well. I wasn't going to let that stop me. All right, let's see. Ma is saying, just finished watching Traitors. Excited to see where it goes. Glad Natalie is safe. Yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen the last Traitors. I should have said that first. And Maryland Southern saying, I like Natalie too. Glad Lisa went. All right, so for those of you who have already seen it or who don't care about spoilers, yes, indeed, we caught a traitor. Lisa Reyna got sent out the door. I was thinking about that, and I talked a little bit about my coverage of this last episode. What did Lisa do wrong? I mean, I feel like she was pretty good, even the way she murdered in plain sight, and no one caught that it had anything to do with the poisoned amulet that she was using. It was all about, oh, she kissed someone. Did she kiss him? Did she not kiss him? And I think that cost her a lot because rather than just say, yeah, I kissed, I air kissed Yam Yam, as he said, but I did that to a lot of people and no one else got sent home. Why are you so certain that is what caused the death? Instead, she denied it, which didn't help her because then there were several people, I think Tara or more, I think, it said, no, I saw her air kiss Jam Jam and all that. I think she maybe would have been a little bit better off if she had said the same thing that Dorinda said during the episode of, well, yeah, she air kissed Jam Jam, but she did it with a lot of people. That's what you do as a real housewife. But she didn't do that, which then made people a little suspicious. I think Colton's the one that said, look, either Jam Jam's lying when he said she kissed you or she kissed him, or you're lying when you say you didn't. One or the other. And why would Jam Jam lie at this point? So I think that cost her. But longer term for that show, I think what cost Lisa is the fact that she forgot that it's not just about flying under the radar. You have to play as though you are a faithful. And I don't think she did. And I think Colton picked up on that. Dorinda picked up, a few different people picked up on the fact that she was being very quiet and not necessarily being as vocal as you would expect Lisa Reyna to be on a show like this. Now, from her standpoint, she saw all these people, different people going after Ron, going after Portia, and Colton going after everyone. Yeah, right. I think she saw a lot of that and said, oh, they're taking each other out. I don't even have to do anything. But it caused her to fly too low under the radar. Right? And as a result, people were like, how come she isn't speaking up more and doing what we would expect her to do? So, yeah, I think it was fine. I think it was time probably for her to go. It was she was fun while it lasted. Here's my question to y'all, and tell me in your comments because I'm really curious. Do y'all think they're now going to recruit a third person? Our Carol saying think they'll murder recruit. See, Carol, you and I were on the same path here. Do you think they'll recruit a third person now that we're down to two traitors? I think so. My only question is how are you going to do it? But I think so, especially because it seems like we've got Rob kind of throwing Candace under the bus. Candace kind of throwing Rob under the bus. Is that what do you think of Candace writing down Rob's name? I forgot. I actually had kind of forgotten that there was only one vote cast for Rob, and it was Candace. And I remember afterwards, Rob saying something like, "Oh, that's kind of her calling me out or whatever. And why would she do that?" I think Candace and Rob are going to have some major friction at this point. They're both going after each other at this point. We saw during that episode Candace saying, "Hey, I think that Rob and Colton both could be traitors. They're working too closely together." I think she was telling Johnny Weir that, but I could be wrong. But I remember Candace was part of that conversation, so she's definitely not hesitant to point a finger at Rob at this point. Rob is kind of calling out at one point. He said, "Hey, we could have a turret full of housewives. The only traitors could all be housewives," just as a little bit of a twist for this season. So he's not having a big issue calling Candace out either. I think because of that, with them both pointing the finger at each other, I don't think the producers are going to want to get down to one traitor this quickly. So I expect they're going to get another traitor and let Candace and Rob fight for that traitor's soul, so to speak. Get them on their side and make something happen. Which makes me wonder, who would Candace and Rob both agree to if they have to recruit a new traitor? Who would they want to take that position? And it would be kind of funny if it's Colton, but I think it's too likely that he may be going home at some point in time here before too long. Plus, people have already connected Rob and Colton incorrectly now, but if Colton became a traitor, then I don't think that works. I think it could be someone, maybe a Natalie, but really, who I'm thinking? Someone like a Johnny Weir or a Kristen, someone who's not part of the Housewives connection, not part of the gamers. Of course, Natalie is now the only gamer left for this season. So yes, I'm glad that she's still around also. Because you get a little bit worried about it. There's a lot of people pointing the finger at Natalie, saying, "Oh, she was so aggressively trying to fight for that antidote," and so that suggests to us that she wanted to use it so someone else wouldn't use it. I get it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the way she fought for the antidote is going to make me think she's a traitor if I'm in that house, because it really came down to her versus Tara, right? One or the other is going to drink it. Well, now that we know that Jam Jam was murdered, now that the house knows that Jam Jam was murdered, I would think if I was them that you'd be thinking, well, why would Natalie fight so hard for it? Natalie could have let just Tara drink that antidote. It didn't affect who was actually murdered, so it really wouldn't have hurt Natalie at all, which just makes me think that if I'm seeing the way it went down, I'm going to be less suspicious of Natalie and not more suspicious, because the person she was fighting for the antidote is not who ended up getting murdered. But there's so much stuff going on around there. There's so many people pointing fingers at each other still, and not valid, really. For most of them are not valid, which is why I still think we're a little early in the game to even care that much about whether a traitor goes out the door or not. I wouldn't care. I've decided after watching this season, I wouldn't tell other people I didn't care, but inside, I wouldn't care. I just want people gone who are going to target me. Lisa probably should have gone after Colton. If she'd gone after him, yeah, that would have been too obvious, but there would have been people saying, yeah, but that's too obvious. It probably isn't Lisa. It's probably someone trying to frame Lisa for it. There's always this double bluff, triple bluff kind of thing going on. Moss saying, I think if they recruit, it'll be someone like Steven. I think that's a very good pick, because Steven is kind of, he's kind of just blended into the woodwork, right? No one has really mentioned his name much for anything. Now, I do know Colton called out Steven last episode, said maybe he's the next person that he's going to take a swing at. Colton's always swinging. He's like the baseball team that only has one guy batting over and over and over again. So it does sound like Colton may have settled on Steven as his next person to go after, which another mistake, but he may carry some weight now that Lisa actually did prove to be a traitor. But yeah, I could see Steven, because I think he's a pretty good player, and he has attracted absolutely zero attention so far. We'll see. Now, if I'm Rob, man, that may not be a bad idea, because then you've got another strong kind of athletic person in there that may take some heat off of you if Steven ever gets caught out as well. So yeah, I think that's a good choice, Steven. All right, so Steven and Kristen and who else did I say? I don't know. I kind of think it may be one of those two, but we'll find. They've got to recruit them first, but I just don't see him going to the end of the show with only only 2 people. It would be funny if you only had 1 traitor left for the next however many episodes are left, because it would be so frustrating for the castle guest to continually think they have someone, and it just turns out to be a faithful over and over again. I don't know what happens on the rules. Do any of y'all know? I don't know if it's been on any of the other international seasons, if this has ever happened. If you somehow got rid of all the traitors before you got to the very end, there's no one left to pick who's murdered, right? I don't know. I can't imagine that the show just ends right there. Oh, everyone who's left, y'all all win the money. No, there'd be some kind of random or something picked, but I don't know what the official rules are if somehow they do manage to get out all of them. I don't think there's ever, probably not even a rule that exists, because I think if they get down to 1, they're going to immediately recruit someone anyway. Yet another reason why I don't think it matters about getting traitors out this early in the season. All right, Minnesota Fat. Minnesota Fat. I love that login name. Most people probably have no clue the origin of that. Anyway, but Minnesota Fat's saying, I wanted the Hogfather BB comic. Well, I did too, and I was very excited to get it. Clinton Merchant is saying, your legend, nice BB Comics background. Oh, thank you, Clinton. For those of you who don't know, there were 2 BB comics, 3 BB comics. I take that back. 3 BB comics, 2 that were correct, 1 that was incorrect. And so they sent 1 to me. I know 1 was donated to charity, and I feel like I signed that at some point, and someone bought it for charity. I'm not sure what happened to the 3rd. Maybe it went back to Thomas Wynn, who was the author for my particular comic. I'm not really sure, but I did hold on to 1. Now, little trivia question for you, and I won't leave it to the end to answer. I'll go ahead and answer it. But as you recall, every BB comic has the correct comic and the incorrect comic. There's something different about them. My undoing, my failure on that cost me a minute or so, a couple of minutes worth of time, was on Nick's comic. I didn't realize that he had a funky haircut, that the haircut was wrong. We made so much fun of his haircut while he's in the house, and I didn't realize that I had the wrong haircut picked, and I just kept getting the order wrong. It's like, gosh, I know these are all right. It took a little while to happen. But here's the question. Do y'all know what the difference was between my 2 comics and my particular one? The correct comic and the incorrect comic. It didn't take me too long to catch that one. And just to give y'all a quick little answer, it has to do with the whiskers. Yeah, one of them had the whiskers. The correct one had the whiskers. The other one did not have them. And so I guess that's about that. Maybe that's about as best I'm ever going to do trying to grow a mustache. I've grown a mustache and a beard before a little bit. It's not ever been anything standard I've kept for any long period of time. While I was in the Big Brother house, I did try to grow a goatee, and I did it for a while. If you watch the episodes, it started filling in a little bit, and I certainly started looking a little different. All the other house guests, Jack and Jackson, all of them were talking about growing beards and goatees and everything. And I said, oh, maybe I should do it, trying so hard to fit in. So I actually started growing the goatee the day that the bullying day, where they yelled at Nicole so much, and we just saw all that stuff going on upstairs. That's the day I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to fit in with other people at this point. I've played scared. I'm tired of doing it. I'm going to shave it off. So I went in, took a shower in the middle of the day, shaved off everything, and said, I'm not going to fit in with their stuff. I'm going to be me. It took a few weeks for me to get to that point, but I was irritated. I just dang irritated at that point in time. But anyway, yeah, what Traitors? What else? I thought it was a cool, absolutely cool episode. Starry Night Sky saying, what was your Zing Bot Zing? All right. That one was, I think they could have done more with it. I'll just say that. Mine was, you thought it was going to be a dig against Jessica because it's like, house guest, you've spent the last 3 months in the house with a very voluptuous figure person. Yes, welcome to Cling. Sing something about that. Talking about voluptuous. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Voluptuous figure in the house, and Jessica's like, oh yeah, And then they call at me. It's like, all right, what of all the things you could go after, that's what you go after. There's so much more. I could have given them a lot. And personally, there's a couple of things that could have been huge zings that I was like, oh, geez. Having a big mouth. Why would they not concentrate on the fact that I had such a big mouth? I got overheard by everyone else. But anyway, Zingbot, called me up for my voluptuous figure, and then I had to go up there, and they kept wanting me to go up and like chest bump or something. Oh, whatever. For those of you who don't know, Zingbot does not actually. We hear exactly what y'all hear. Zingbot's voice and all that. That's all absolutely correct, but it's not coming out of Zingbot, the robot's body. It's just the overhead speakers that we hear it in. Zingbot's just standing there doing this stuff, and so it was still fun to watch. And Zingbot in person is a very tall, intimidating type of person. Zingbot was probably 7 foot tall or so. So it came in there with all the creaking and the mechanic noises and all that. One quick little extra that you may or may not catch. During our season, Zingbot was Zingbot for president, and then you had to rescue Zingbot because he got arrested, and there were some things like that. Anyway, we had the person who plays. Oh, we played the Auntie on season 19. Always plays. He played Al the alien on our season as well, making Jack do all kinds of things. He came in to announce that Zingbot had been kidnapped, and we had to try to rescue Zingbot. He came running in through the front door, and unfortunately, that was the week of prank week, and we had been doing so many pies in each other's faces that all of that, between the whipped cream and then us cleaning the floors over and over and over again to get that smell out of there, the floors were incredibly slippery. So Al, the alien character, or the guy who plays Al, came running in to tell us that Zingbot had been kidnapped, and he slid on that floor and absolutely took the worst tumble. Hit the ground so hard, really thought he'd broken a bone or something. He acted like it was part of the bit. He jumped right back up, never said a word about it. I've talked to him a few times. He's big into WWE and some other things. I ought to reach out to him one of these things. I'd be curious to see how injured he really was, because he hit hard. It's like, we've been cleaning the floor there, so be careful, floor slippery. Too late. I guess that was our own little personal zing. All right, Tim Cox is saying Taco Tuesday. I remember Taco Tuesday. I will say this. We did throughout the entire season, we had Mexican food night. We had Taco Tuesday every single night. I've seen some seasons where the house guests just kind of go off on their own and don't seem to have that community feel to them sometimes. We did that. Even in the worst of circumstances, we still had Taco Tuesday. Now, that one particular Taco Tuesday, a little bit different, and maybe not so much of a community feel on that. Jeez. Christy calling out Nick, and Nick just taking the hook and just burying himself a little bit. And, Christy accusing him of working with everyone, which actually we already knew. That wasn't a big surprise. I've told y'all before, the whole time I'm sitting there, it's just, don't say my name. Don't say my name. Don't say my name. That's all I care about. Y'all can argue. You can throw punches. You can do whatever you want. Just don't mention the name Cliff. And they mentioned my name, but it was okay. That was stressful. There were some raw emotions taking place in that house. For people who say that stuff is scripted, ain't a chance in hell. That was full-blown people getting upset with each other, seeing their game at risk. And it was heartfelt and very stressful for all of us, even the ones who weren't getting yelled at. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Karen Loveland saying, any new ice cream flavors? Watching Super Bowl commercials, greatest. All right, I love the Super Bowl commercials. Ice cream flavors, no, not yet. It's a little cold outside. We'll do that as we get a little bit more into the springtime. Maybe before Big Brother starts, I can try some of those. Last time I tried it, we had a hurricane came through. I had everything frozen up, ready to do the ice cream. Then a hurricane came through, melted everything in our fridge. And as much as I wanted to try that macaroni and cheese flavored ice cream, as much as I wanted to try the pickle ice cream, once the cold went out and that batch melted a little bit. There's something about pickles in milk that just don't sit so well when they're no longer frozen. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try it again later. But yeah, I'll come up with some cool ice cream flavors. Michelle Moore is saying, are you watching are you watching Suddenly Amish? No, but now all I can think of is Weird Al Yankovic and living in an Amish paradise and his whole little bit. I have not. That sounds like a Fox show, right? No, I haven't, but now I got to add something else to the list. That sounds pretty good. Patricia Miller saying, "Are you going to watch House of Villains?" Probably, but I need to get caught up on the old ones, which I have not seen yet. God, so many reality shows. Probably so. Yeah, there's a few reality shows that I was way behind. I had to get caught up on. Claim to Fame was one of them. I think that show had already come and gone before Sharon and I started watching that. House of Villains, I heard a lot of good things about it last year, but I haven't seen the first season, so I need to do that first, and then I'll come along and check out the new one. We've got that. Extracted. I don't know if any of y'all had a chance to watch last week's. Hopefully you didn't watch it live since it's kind of on at the same time as my show. Those guys, why didn't they check with me? But I've been very interested in it because Sandra's on there, her family members on there. Sis, her sister is actually out in the woods. I'm just not thinking that Sis and her family is going to be on that show for very long. I'm not sure that her sister really has what it takes to stay out in the wild for an extended period of time. She's still going to stay longer than Sis would, because Sis would have been done 5 minutes in, but it's just my own personal opinion. But yeah, I think Sis is probably not destined for a long role in the show Extracted. I feel so bad, and I'm not going to give away spoilers to the point of saying specifically who went home last week, but we did have someone who went home. This is the second season in a row where I feel like someone went home too quick. They weren't even willing to try. They just, as soon as they showed up out there, they're like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. I'm done. I would be so furious. It's a little bit like the people who quit Survivor on the first night or two. If you aren't any more committed to it than that, you shouldn't have taken up someone else's spot to begin with. It just rubs me the wrong way. Now, I'm sure the producers intentionally picked one or two people that they felt, oh, this person isn't going to last. They'll be gone almost immediately. They have to have someone to have going home in the first episode, right? And you don't want that to be, 30 days later, we finally lost our first person. Nah. So I'm sure they knew going in, there were a couple of people that were not going to do as well as they thought, but that just irritated me. If I was on that show and it was one of my friends or family members out there and they were just a few hours in saying, yeah, I'm done, you need to pull me, they could be eaten by a bear while getting chased by a shark all at the same time. And I still would be saying, you better run fast or you better swim fast, because you aren't coming out of this thing until you've at least spent a couple of nights out there. I better start seeing some ribs on you before I think that you're so hungry that you can't survive any longer. Sharon would probably be saying, don't do that to them, Cliff. I'd be like, yeah, they're not coming in anytime soon. Forget the money on the line, just as a personal thing. I know in the Big Brother house, we had a couple of people who wanted to self-evict my season. Kat early on, I think before the feeds even came on, she was talking about it. Now, knowing what I do know about Kat, it could have been just a whole act on her part, just to garner a little sympathy and all that. She was a smart player, so I don't put that past her. I need to ask her that one of these times, because I spent a long time saying, Kat, do not self-evict. You're going to regret this from this point on if you do. If she had, it would have saved Ovi and me that first week. So maybe I shouldn't have pushed so hard, but I really feel like it's a reality show. It's a game, right? You know, whatever. It's just a game. But I do think the way you play the game sometimes does reflect on how you live your life. And so I've always, if it's a mental health issue, if there truly are some things, and we've seen that in Big Brother once or twice, where I feel like there were very good justifications for someone getting out. But for the most part, if you can't just stand in there and try it for a little while, I'm not saying stay the whole time, but at least give it a good effort. Then I kind of lose a little respect. But I'll get off my soapbox. All right, Blue Sugi is saying, Extracted sounds like a mix of Survivor and Naked and Afraid. Yeah, Survivor, Naked and Afraid, and Alone, which is I think is on National Geographic. It's a combination of all three. It's cool because on the one hand, it's all about survival. What's really cool is they actually win money, whereas with Naked and Afraid, you survived 21 days. I ate two crickets and got bit by 40,000 mosquitoes on night number one, and they all bit me in the worst places. And they said, "Well, congratulations, Cliff, for lasting 21 days. Here's your plane ticket home. Do I get anything else? Yeah, we'll give you a warm bath, but you're not getting a paycheck." Now, I'm sure they get a little something to cover their days, but there's no big $500,000 or anything at the end. There's no $1 million survivor award when you do Naked and Afraid. At least with Extracted, I think they get 100,000, 200. There's some little bit of justification to stay out there. But what's cool about Extracted, for those who haven't seen it, is it's not just the person who's out in the wilderness having to survive and overcome their mental stuff and all that, because they've got two family members or friends back in a little Quonset hut that's watching, and they're fighting to help you out as best they can, negotiating with the other teams to get you. We could give them a warm blanket or a canteen of water, or we could give them a piece of rope. Yeah. And so there's a lot of things that they can do to help you survive as well. So it's like all three of those shows, and throw a little Hunger Game in as well, because you have to get the support from the people back in the thing. So that's always a lot of fun. So yeah, I enjoyed the first Extracted. We'll check it out again later this evening. The other one I've been watching, Fear Factor. What do y'all think about that? Last week I was a little behind, so I didn't talk about it. And I'm not going to talk about it a lot this week, other than to say, I've always said that my two big fears that they could really exploit on Fear Factor, if I ever went in that show, heights to some degree, and cold temperatures. The cold temperatures give me. Heights, I've discovered, yeah, I'm scared of them, but not to the point that I can't do what I have to do. Is they're not going to make me stand on the side of a 100-story building without any kind of anchoring or something to hold me in place. And that's what makes me scared. It's when I know there's a possibility I could fall. As soon as someone attaches something to me, then kind of the fear goes away. And so heights wouldn't work that much. Cold water, cold temperatures, they could get me with that. Cliff, you're going to spend the next 12 hours in an ice bath. Yeah, that would be absolutely brutal for me. That would be one of my fears. But having said all of that, I now realize, after watching one of the, I think, second from last episode of Fear Factor, I have one true fear that overcomes not one ring to rule them all. No, this is one fear that rules over all the rest of them. And that fear is disgusting foods. Give me a 72-ounce steak and I'll chow it down in under an hour. I'll eat the good foods. Give me gizzards mixed with pig's blood. Give me sour milk. And I just don't know that my body is going to cooperate. As much as I criticize the person on Extracted who withdrew within like the first day or so, when they give me that old 32-ounce drink of sour milk and gizzards and cow stomach and all that, all blended up into a nice little chunky smoothie, that's where I'm going to become the hypocrite and say, yeah, I think I'm done with it at this point. I think drinking this mixture is going to create so much mental stress for the entire rest of my life. It's not worth whatever y'all are paying for this freaking show to do it. Now, having said all of that, that's the easy answer. The other answer is I would try to do it, and try is the key word, because I don't know if I can do it. I eat some strange stuff all over the world. I truly have. Spicy stuff doesn't bother me, but there's just something about pig snouts and blood, and there's just, yeah, I wouldn't handle it well. Starry Night is saying, in a box with live snakes wouldn't phase me. I'm good. Now, rats and mice, that's a little creep factor. Cockroaches, yeah, that's a little creep factor. I grew up, my mom was a life science teacher for junior high. She taught life science. We always had around our house terrariums with snakes, guinea pigs, hamsters, man, you name it. We had all kinds of critters around our house. So I used to handle snakes all the time. Doesn't bother me. And just living in Texas, you see them sometimes. I've caught poisonous snakes in our backyard, things like that. So no, snakes would not bother me, but having a couple of dozen mice, or not mice, rats. There's a difference. Mice, okay. Big old rats hanging onto your hair and landing on your shoulders and all that. That's a little bit of a creep factor. And the roaches would probably not be a fun one either. All right, a little story for y'all to talk about my fear, I suppose, of roaches. I was working somewhere, and I'm going to leave it unknown because it's probably just as well that I don't want to get sued by anyone. I was working somewhere as a teenager and had to reach up and pull a box off of a fairly tall shelf. And I got called in to do it because I was taller than anyone else who needed this assistance. So I reached up, grabbed this little box, tilted over so I can pull it off the shelf. And as I tilted over, several dozen cockroaches fall out of this box, run down my arm, all over me. I look like something out of that first episode or first movie Creep Show. Roaches everywhere, and not little tiny roaches. No, these are Texas cockroaches. These are like this. These are the big ones. These are the ones that hiss at you. I don't know if they hiss because I never give them enough time for that. I'm always 100 feet away before that happens. But if you don't step on them the right way, they'll go flying at you. Scary critters. So no, roaches bother me, rats bother me, snakes not so much. How did we get on this topic? I still say, put me in a cage with any of them. Heck, I will carry a mouse in my mouth by the tail and all that. I'll do all of that before you ask me to drink some smoothies with food that really is not designed to be consumed by humans in the worst of situations. I'd be out eating dirt and naked and afraid before I ate some of the stuff that they showed on there. Dirt, I don't know how nutritious. I'd be eating grass before I ate what they did on Fear Factor. Big Jake 88 is saying, watch The Thing 1982 yesterday. It's a classic. I love it. Now, there is another thing. The original Thing came out in the mid 50s, and it's pretty dang good as well. But the one you're talking about, Big Jake, yeah, it's classic. It's fantastic. Great special effects. Kurt Russell is amazing on it. There's a little uncertainty at the end. The ending's a little ambiguous in terms of, did they get who they thought they were getting and all of that? Man, I love The Thing. That's one of my favorites from 80s horror science fiction kind of stuff. Man, you got that. You got Terminator, Assault on Precinct 13. Escape from New York, as cheesy as it was, also one of my favorites. I was watching, was it YouTube over the weekend, and there was a thing talking about 80s teenage hits and classics and all that. And there were a lot of movies that came out in the 80s that now they may not stand up in terms of some of the fancy cinematography and stuff that we've got now. Some of them are definitely a little on the cheesy side, but there were some dang good movies in the 80s as well. I need to start doing a watch on some of those. That would be fun to do. Yeah, and The Thing is, if anyone who has not seen The Thing, check it out. It is a great sci-fi movie. Michelle is saying the Muppets are coming back. Michelle, I don't care what format it is. I don't care if it's a movie, if it's a TV show. I don't care. Yeah, you've brightened my day just completely by that. I am a huge fan of the Muppets. We went to Disney World a few times. We saw the Muppets at the MGM theme park or Hollywood Studios while we were there. Love that. I've seen that many times. But the old TV show, The Muppets, was fantastic. One of my favorite songs, it's all the Muppet movies, I think. One of my favorite songs is the Rainbow Connection, as sung by Kermit the Frog. There's a lot of people who sung it, but my favorite's always going to be Kirby. I obviously like I like all of them. Miss Piggy, Gonzo. I just big fan of the Muppets. So all right, good. I'm gonna have to check into that. I like that. All right, Clinton is saying Paramount said all of the janky merchandise is going to be gone on the website on the 6th. Well, there you go. I guess it depends on how you define janky merchandise. The official janky merchandise, I really expected janky to make a comeback at some point in one of these seasons. I guess janky is gone, done for. That particular little AI has gone away. I'm gonna go out and create a AI website, and I'm just gonna call it Janky the AI chatbot or something. CBS will probably have something to say about that, but I like Janky. Janky didn't make people mad the way I think the producers thought Janky would. Now the other, what was her name, Annie or AI or whatever? Yeah, I didn't like her too much, but Janky, I was a fan of Janky. And for those of you who have forgotten, 2 seasons ago, the artificial intelligence Janky showed up and met a tragic end at the end of the season. Yeah, R.I.P. Janky. All right, well, so you've heard it from Clinton. If you want Janky merchandise, yeah, you need to get out there within the next 3 or 4 days and get your order placed, because otherwise it's gone for good. And who Janky will make it come back. It may be season 50 or something. It'll be like Survivor 50, Big Brother 50. That's 23 years from now. Hey, call me. I'll still be ready, guys. I may be walking a little bit slower, but I'll still be ready for the show. Maybe the Janky will make an appearance on the 50th anniversary. Of course, by then, who knows what AI is going to do in another 23 years or so. We won't be able to tell the difference. Except for the robots that are going out and killing all humans and trying to run the world. Other than that, it'll be fine. Carol is saying, let's see, Kent saying, will you be watching the Olympics? Starts February 6th. Yeah, I'll be watching it. I mean, yeah, it's a Winter Olympics, right? Yeah, Winter Olympics, because Ma is going to be at the other Olympics, right? I always keep that in mind. I'll give you a hard time, Ma. Yes, I'll watch it. The Winter Olympics, I always watch. They don't have hockey down here in Houston, but Winter Olympics, Olympic hockey, I always watch ever since Lake Placid, the USA beating Russia. That is one of the ultimate sports moments of my entire life. Watching Mike Tyson get beat by Buster Douglas, huge. Watching the U.S. beat Russia in the semifinals of the Olympics at Lake Placid, huge. Watching, speaking of Kurt Russell and the thing, Kurt Russell was also on the Miracle on Ice movie, which is a phenomenal movie. Played Arazuski or whatever. Can't pronounce the name. But anyway, yeah, I'll watch the Winter Olympics and watch the watch the downhill. I've always, when I watch the Olympics, y'all tell me if you do this. I watch the Olympics summer and winter, and I gauge everything by I could do that, or yeah, there's not a chance in hell I could do that. On the Winter Olympics, I've got the 3 sports identified that I feel like maybe I wouldn't win, but I feel like with just a little training, maybe I could do something with that. Number 1 on my list is curling. I really feel like just a little bit of practice. Heck, I could be smoking or something. I still do curling, right? I don't smoke, and I don't encourage anyone to do it. I'm just using it as a litter of whatever. But I feel like maybe I could do curling with a little training. I feel like I could do the downhill, the long distance ski jumping, because at the end of the day, you just have to stay stable while you're going 150 miles an hour down a hill. Right now, I'm not saying that I would land well at all, or that my body would be in any kind of condition to do a second jump. But I feel like one time and one time only, this hog could fly. This pig would fly. I feel like I've got a lot of mass. Maybe that works against you with wind resistance and all that, but I feel like I'd be like a cannonball going off that hill. So I feel like I could maybe do that. And then some of those bobsleds, the skeletons or whatever else, yeah, I know I'd wipe out halfway through it. It's a lot harder, and I'm way too cocky to say it, but I just feel like, hey, as a kid, I occasionally got in a sled. I went down the hill. It can't be that much harder, right? Yeah, all right. The end result is that curling, I could probably do it and survive. The other 2 sports, if they let me anywhere close to it, you're going to be putting up, that'll be my one and only appearance. And they know better than that. But yes, I'm going to be watching the Winter Olympics for certain. All right. TJ Kaz is saying they hype so much it'll be hard to meet expectations. Oh, Carol's saying excited for Survivor 50. Oh, and TJ Kaz, they hype so much it'll be hard to meet. There's so many people on there, and I look at all these players and so many names of people that truly are big names playing this game, right? I don't know. Winners at War, some of the past seasons, I was kind of, Big Brother All Stars. Yeah, not the second one, at least. Not my favorite. So I do worry about that. I worry a little bit that Beast Games is going to have an appearance. I do worry, are they going to be doing too much to try to make season 50 special to the point that there's too many twists or I don't know. I'm so up in the air about it. And I will say, and I'm not mentioning any names because I don't want anyone coming after me. There are people on this cast that I am excited to see back on TV, excited to see back on an island competing in the game. Truly, I'm anxious and excited to see them back on my TV screen. There are other people that are going to be on the season that I just feel like I've seen them too many times, and there's not that much more for them to offer. And I'll just leave it at that. And I'm not telling you who is who, but certainly personally, I'm going to have people I'm cheering for, and I'm excited to see how they play the game. And we'll see. So much of Survivor, yes, it's all about good gameplay and strategy and all of that. When you've got these kind of players, though, I feel like the randomness and just the twist and everything have a little extra influence that you normally maybe don't get. But no, I'm excited for it. Yes, there is a lot of hype for it, and we had remember last season or was it the season before? We were all voting on these different things. You know, are they going to have fire making at the end? Do they get rice? A lot of those kind of things, and supposedly they took what we said and changed the game because of it. Now, would they tell us if we voted the other way? I don't know that they would, but I think they're going to try to make it a little bit more of a fan driven thing as well. So we'll see. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. All right, we didn't talk about Beast Games. We'll talk about that one of the weeks following. I'll just say this: I'm amazed that someone could be offered $1 million and they would turn it down in order to show their loyalty to people that they just met a couple of days ago. I think I said it last week. There is not a chance in the world. My own family could be out there. And if they're offering me $1 million, I'm saying, well, y'all are done. Now, I'll take y'all to dinner. You're going to be okay. But there's no way a brand new person, if I'm in the Big Brother house and I'm on day number, it doesn't matter. Day number 1, day number 30, day number 90. Name any day that I was in the Big Brother house. And they say, Cliff, we're going to give you $1 million. All you have to do is say the game's over, or you have to cut half the people, cut their chances of winning anything else. You're booting them all out the door if you say you take it. You know what? I take it. I take it. And I don't ever look back. $1 million. This isn't like finding a penny on the pavement and you decide that it's not really worth bending over to pick it up. No, $1 million buys a whole lot of cool stuff. And I know money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a whole lot of things that can bring me a whole lot of happiness as well. I think there's a song about that as well. But yeah, no, I'm amazed at Beast Games that people are willing to stand up for other people. Maybe it shows a flaw in my character that I am so much not willing to do that. I think I've just been around the block a few times that I recognize the true value of $1 million. It's not just some abstract figure. It is a lot of money. So yeah, I'm watching Beast Games. I'm curious to see how that eventually turns out. I've got a show for y'all, and we only have a couple minutes. We'll talk about it more next week. I'm just going to give y'all a teaser, and maybe some of y'all can check it out. We'll talk about maybe a little next week. Sharon and I binged. I think it's on Apple TV where this originally premiered. We have binged all 9 episodes, I think, of Pluribus. I know a lot of you probably have heard it. Some of you have seen it. Some of you haven't. I was completely intrigued, and I don't want to say anything about it because maybe it counts as a spoiler. I don't want to ruin any of it for y'all, other than just to say it's kind of a creepy, interesting, intriguing, into the world, apocalyptic, sarcastic. I don't even know what words though, but Pluribus has been an incredible 9 episodes. That's all we get for the first season. There is a second season that's come along. If you have not watched it and you have access to it, and it's been on Apple TV, so I know not everyone has access to it, but if you can find a way to get access, check out Pluribus. I really would love to find out either next week or if you want to send me some DMs. Let me know what you thought about it, because y'all know me. I love the zombie flicks. I love end of the world kind of movies and all those kind of things. Well, there's a little bit of that in this, and it's just it's a little Stranger Things mixed in. I don't know. It's just a lot of weird setup. So yeah. So check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, let's see. Carol Mosier. Thank you, Carol, for the super stickers, support sticker, whatever they call it. I appreciate the extra support. I love you guys out here every Monday. You absolutely don't need to do that, but it certainly is appreciated. Appreciate y'all just coming and hanging with me every Monday night. So thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. All right, let's see what else. 7:58, so quick. Dr. Bose, Bose, doctor's in the house. Dr. Bose, how you doing? Says, seems in the past on Traitors, they tried to sabotage the games to earn money for the pot. Not seeing it this time. If there was a little bit of a complaint on the Traitors, I don't feel like the money gaining has as much incentive. It's almost an afterthought. It's like, all right, whatever. You got 25,000, you got 10,000, whatever. That's not. I'm more interested to see if people take shields or not. That's the bigger issue. I wish there was, and I think I mentioned this last week. I wish there was a way that the Traitors, if they sabotage a task, that maybe that money comes over into a Traitors pot or something instead, or maybe if they can keep them from winning maximum money, it gives them an extra advantage in terms of banishment table or murders overnight, or I don't know. I feel like there's something where you could give the Traitors incentive to not let the faithful win, because then not only you've got the Traitors working against the faithful during the challenges themselves. Right now, they really aren't. I suppose they could be working against them to try to keep them from getting shields, but really, it just hadn't worked out that way. I'd like to see it where there's more incentive for the Traitors to force the faithful to fail, and then the faithful, and maybe the faithful know that this is going on. Then you have people saying, did that person not carry as much weight because they're trying to get us to fail, or just because they're weak and don't have any business being here? I mean, it would create that much more reasons for suspicions and all of that. So yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Bose. I think we just don't care as much about the money on Traitors as we do on other things. You remember some shows like The Mole from a few years back, where it was the mole was tasked with causing the other side to fail. I wish they did something like that on here, because otherwise it's almost as though you could almost take the money away and just say, yeah, there's just a prize of XYZ dollars at the end, and it wouldn't affect it that much. Sometimes even the challenges, I just feel like they're a little more of an afterthought than we get on Survivor, Big Brother, some of the other ones. I think there's ways that you could fix it. But no, a good point, Dr. Bose. I agree completely on that. All right, with that, Andy Yum Yum, or in the spirit of Yam Yam, because it'd be Andy Jum Jum. Andy Yum Yum saying, really want to see Pluribus. Vince Gilligan is a genius. Vince Gilligan's the writer, the executive director, the showrunner. I think he's a little bit of everything on it. And yeah, I don't know what else he's done so far. Oh, I do know. He did Breaking Bad and he did Better Call Saul. And Pluribus is based in Albuquerque as well. So he definitely has his scenery that he likes to do. Yeah, Vince Gilligan is I haven't seen Better Call Saul yet. I've seen Breaking Bad, incredible. So I've seen some of Better Call Saul. I just haven't seen it all the way through. Yet another thing to binge on. All right, guys, with that, we're going to shut it down. I hope y'all have a fantastic week. Not nearly as cold as it was last week. So enjoy the first week of February. Enjoy y'all's first week of February. Opening ceremonies for the Olympics apparently are on Friday, so we'll have fun with that. And I'll be cheering on the Americans, but Canada, I'll be cheering you on. I'm hoping that we get a Canada America finale on the hockey for the gold. Wouldn't that be cool? It's cool having the rivalry between the two teams as far as hockey goes and all that. And I'll be watching a lot of y'all because I love watching curling as well. I'm going to track down a curling rink and try that one of these days. Who knows? I may be standing on that stage one day holding up my gold medal. Probably not, but we'll see. A man can dream, right? All right, guys, y'all have a great one. I'll finish you off with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love hanging out with y'all every Monday night. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting the old thumbs up. Oh, and you can turn on notifications as well. Guys, have a great week. I will see y'all. I'm going to drop in the next recap of the Traitors at some point. So if you got your notifications turned on, you'll know about it. But I will be doing that, and then I'll see y'all next Monday as well. Y'all have a great one. Cheers, my friends. Stay warm out there. I certainly will myself. Have a great one, guys. Love you all.